Hello and welcome to the Self-Recording Band podcast. I am your host, Benedikt, and I'm here with my friend and co-host, Malcolm owen-flood. How are you, Malcolm?
Hello, I'm great. How are you, Benny? Actually, first off, happy birthday, man. This is my first time getting to talk to you in person since your birthday. Not in person, virtually. That's the new in person, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I read the post in the community yesterday, and I like it made me smile and it made me happy. Great. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for being awesome. You, dude.
Oh man, yeah. I enjoyed the last 2 years doing this podcast so much. I don't even know where to begin. And that's the whole purpose of this episode today, right? So we're going to celebrate those past 2 years. And we're going to talk about our favorite moments. We're going to hopefully get to ask our community about their favorite moments.
Mm-hmm.
And before we do that, I want to ask you how your week was, Malcolm, because I can't do an episode without hearing you, without you giving me an update on what's going on in your life.
What is going on in my life? I guess like it's actually been a few weeks since we recorded anything because we bulked a bunch of episodes before the holidays. So in that time, I went to Mexico. I made it back from Mexico. I'm currently quarantining in my home as required after a trip out of the country. But that is just fine because I did get my new M1 Max MacBook Pro. So I've just been spending all my time playing with a new computer, setting it up, downloading all the plugins again, and making all my, presets again. I forgot to import my presets, so that's been a little bit of a task. But it's good. It's like kind of nice to refresh things and refine the workflow. I got to say the computer's a beast. It is definitely working as I hoped it would. And yeah, I'm pretty much home for a month straight, just mixing and mastering, and for the entire month, which is pretty rare for me. Lately, I've just been in and out of the house into different projects all over the place. So, but I'm looking forward to a month at home and going to do a whole lot of mixing.
Oh, that sounds amazing, dude. And I'm glad to hear that the new computer works because I'm still thinking about getting one. I didn't pull the trigger yet, and I don't really need to, I think. That's why I didn't have to. But I really want to. And I wanted to make sure that yours is working before I do anything. So I'll give it a couple more weeks and then we'll see.
Yeah, I found like a couple hiccups so far, but I found ways around them all as well. But cool. There's definitely a couple things. And I'm looking forward to more of like the software I'm using because almost all of it I'm using is using the Rosetta processing, which for anybody that's thinking about getting an M1, that just means that it like runs a virtual version of their old operating system, I guess, and that's run non-M1 coded like software, and it's doing that flawlessly. You don't even know it's happening, but once it gets to the new coding, it'll apparently be even more powerful, which will be incredible.
Cool, awesome. Now let's get to today's episode because I see that people are already in there and waiting. Malcolm.
Yes.
In these last 100 episodes, which is kind of crazy to even say, I think that we have 100 episodes down at this point and we haven't missed a single week. What were some of your favorite moments or favorite episodes or key takeaways or things we talked about? Anything? Like, can you remember anything?
Yeah, I think like the standout ones from memory are our guest episodes. Like those were just so much fun. Connecting with our friends and colleagues and just getting to like bounce ideas off of each other. Yesco's in particular, I remember just like that one's been incredibly useful. It convinced me to put more treatment in my studio, which is never a bad idea, I think. And then it's also been like probably the most shareable episode for me because I get asked questions about that stuff all the time. So I'm just like, just go listen to Yesco, tell us what's up. And so it's just so useful. And same with Diego. And actually, Diego was a really special episode too, because Diego I had never heard of or talked to before you introduced me to him via that episode, because you were friends with Diego. And I should share what episodes these are. The Yesco episode was 49 for anybody that hasn't heard that. That was about room acoustics. And then the Diego episode was episode 47, so just a couple before that. And we talked all about guitar setup. And I think anybody that's listened to any amount of this podcast knows that Benny and I are just like eternally frustrated with guitar recordings because it's so hard to get right. And Diego's just a master at like those fine details, the stuff that really matters. So that was just like, I think that helped our audience like level up and understand what we're looking for when it comes to making professional guitar recordings. So both of those episodes probably my favorite.
Totally. And shout out and a huge thank you to the guests that we had on this podcast, who are, I hope I don't forget anybody, but I think I have all of them. They are John McLucas.
Yep, John's
Jesko
great.
Lohan. Yeah, Jesko Lohan, Diego Casillas, Jacob Hansen, and Matt Ramsey. You are amazing. Thank you so much for coming to the show and sharing your wisdom, your knowledge with us. Those episodes were really, really, really amazing for us. And we want to do more of those in the future because our analytics also show us that these are very popular and people really enjoy them. And for good reason. So thank you so much for doing all of that. Also, like Diego, you've helped so much in the community. You took the time to answer so many questions in detail. Like, that's totally amazing. So thank you for doing that. We also have something coming, by the way, with that Diego made for you. So I can already say that. But thank you for everything you did so far. And same is true for everybody else. Like John and Jesko and Diego, all three did guest workshops for our Academy course, and like we are super grateful for all of that.
Totally.
And the next big thank you goes out to you, the listeners, by the way. You are in the audience right now because it's incredible for us to see that so many of you are enjoying this podcast and that you keep listening, that you subscribe and leave reviews and share the podcast. It's been growing and it still grows more than ever actually at the moment. So we are really, really, really happy to have you and glad for you and for the fact that you're sharing this with your friends. So this is much bigger and more fun than I thought it would be. And it's not like a huge 10,000s, I don't know, like size audience, but it's a decent size. And the way, the feedback we get and the way we get to interact with you in the community and through email and through everything we do feels just so great. And so, I don't know, it's a connection and I don't know. I don't even know how to I mean, you know what I want to say. It's like, it feels so good and so fulfilling. And it feels much more like a conversation and not just like talking at you, although we are basically just talking at you every single week, but it doesn't feel like it. And we really, really appreciate this community and we hope for it to grow. And we have big plans for this year. So thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, the Facebook community especially is just magic. And I think a lot of the people that are actually on this were part of our last like community meetup that we did, which was such a cool experience as well. That kind of like changed everything for me. I was like, whoa, people actually are out there consuming this stuff and it's helping. This is really cool. So yeah, thank you for showing up to things like this as well.
Yes, totally. And it's kind of crazy to think that we have like 30,000 downloads, which is, I don't know, compared to some other podcasts might not be that huge, but for us, it's a big deal. And we have a couple of hundred people listening every single week consistently, and 500 in the Facebook community, thousands that we reach through email. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. So yeah, for me personally, I wanted to share my favorite moments real quick, and then I'm please let the first people in. So for me personally, it was also the guest episodes. But then I have a couple of episodes, and that's the first actionable, actually helpful part of today's episode that I have for you. I have a couple of episodes that I just want to share again because I think they are super valuable and important for people. And some of those are very popular, others not so much, but I wish they were because I think they are just good and valuable and important. So I'm going to start, as I said, with the interview episodes. But then I really liked the Q&A ones. Like in fall, we did a couple of Q&A episodes in a row. I think I did 2 of them on my own, and then we did 1 together. And initially, these were more or less like filler episodes because it was difficult to schedule recording sessions for this podcast, but we didn't want to miss a week, so we did those. And I just decided to answer questions. But it turned out that you actually liked those episodes. They were pretty popular, and we got pretty good questions for them as well. So maybe we should do more of those in the future. I personally enjoyed it a lot. I personally enjoyed it to answer your questions. And I also want to make sure that I get to answer as much as possible, not only in like coaching calls and like one-on-one stuff, but also on the show. So we want this to be as helpful as possible. So I really enjoyed those. So if you haven't listened to those, go back, please, and listen to episodes 91 to 93. These are the Q&A ones that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then interesting, I think that everything that has to do with guitars or vocals was pretty popular. Maybe because like most people record guitars and vocals and not everybody does drums, for example.
Right.
But I personally think that some of our very first episodes on drums are actually ones that you might want to go back to and listen to them again if you if you record drums or work with drums in any capacity, because we were not as good back then in recording a podcast. So these episodes might not be, I don't know, maybe we were bad at this, but the content is still is valuable and good, I think.
Right.
And if you go back to episode 9, for example, or like basically 7 to 9, where we talk all about programmed drums versus real drums, and then episode 4, which was about drum phase, I think those were one of the most important episodes we did, because it's just so hard to do that right, to get that right.
Yeah.
And if we got to do those again, we would probably do them a little differently. But I think we're still correct with what we said back then, and the content is still valuable and helpful. So I really want you to go back and listen to those if you can, or if you haven't yet. And then, yeah, that's basically it. I think that all the drum episodes, and then a couple of the mindset episodes as well. These are the last ones that I have on my list here. So things like why your tracks need editing, episode 44, or things like if you're about to mix your next record yourself, listen to this, you might be hurting your band, episode 37. These are some of those episodes that are not so popular, and I can see why, but they are still really important to me, because
they're like the hard truths that people don't necessarily want to hear.
Exactly. There are some episodes out there that are like that, and if you go through the back catalog, you'll find some of those. And I really hope you take the time and listen to those as well, not just the really actionable ones, the like where we give you the tactics and tools and like techniques. But like those episodes are so important because they are the framework, the foundation for everything else. I just think it's good to refresh and go back and listen to those again. And I'm not saying, of course, that there's always a right or wrong answer. It's just food for thought. So yeah, those were my kind of favorite things, the drum episodes and then the mindset episodes. I just like to talk about that stuff because I can just say that for me, mindset and also efficiency, productivity, all those skills that are not directly related to audio have helped me the most in my career. Like everything else, the techniques, the compression, EQ, mixing techniques, all of that is, of course, important. But that is the part that can more easily be learned and taught. But the mindset, the productivity stuff, the efficiency, the priorities, like talking about budget and financials and all these things that are not directly related to audio, those are the skills that really help me advance the most, and they are the foundation for everything else, I think. So I really hope that you don't skip these kind of episodes. I think that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, there was that episode we did, I think it was called something like Why You Need a Producer Even If It's You, something like that. And that's been like another episode I can share to a band that's talking to me about recording their own tracks. It's just like, go listen to this. And I found that the bands that pull off the self-recording the best are the ones that get really organized. And like when they're sending me tracks to mix or master and stuff, it's like, they've got a system down. They got spreadsheets and stuff. Like they know what they're doing. They're organized, and those are the people that have like consumed all of those episodes for sure.
Yeah, agreed. I can totally tell when I work with people who has listened to those and who didn't, or like at least who implemented what they've learned. I mean, it could be that they listened but they didn't implement it. So yeah, you can definitely tell, and it makes things so much easier and smoother and faster and better for everybody. So yeah, that was my little recap here. And by the way, if you go to the selfrecordingband.com/podcast, you'll find a player at the top that is pretty convenient, actually. And regardless of the podcast app you use, this little player lets you scroll through all the episodes really quickly, and it doesn't take up a lot of screen space. You can just quickly scroll through it, look at the titles, and maybe like just make some notes on the episodes that you want to listen to. And it might be easier, more convenient than to do that on Spotify or your app that you're using. Depends on what you're listening on, but I just find it really helpful to sometimes just go through the back catalog there and
it
see
is the easiest
for
sure. Like before we started this episode, I was asking Benny, I'm like, how can I quickly scroll through the titles? And he's like, this, and it's awesome. So if you want to go find old episodes or refresh yourself on any topic, this is the quickest way to scan through for sure.
Yeah, totally. And then below the player, there is also our show notes. I don't know if you've ever used those or if you ever click there, but they are pretty helpful. These are like mini blog posts for every single episode. There's one. And whenever we mention a tool or a link or we mention a band or some things that we talk about, you'll find it in those show notes. So you don't have to search for those things yourself. If it's gear recommendations, whenever we're talking about anything, basically, I try to put the links in there, or at least give you the names of the things that we talked about or the people that we talked about. So just go to theselfrecordingband.com / the number of the episode. Like, for example, theselfrecordingband.com / 100 will be the show notes page for this episode. So if you didn't use that so far, do that. It's really cool. Sometimes it's additional value, it's additional resources, sometimes it's downloads we mentioned. So you might miss out by not checking this.
Yeah, you might not have your custom Malcolm owen-flood drum samples of my mouth noises.
Oh my God, by the way, I got an email yesterday. I haven't even listened to it. Good that you bring that up. I got an email yesterday from Thomas. Thomas Psenner is his name. And he said he really appreciates the podcast, and he's thanking us for doing what we do, basically. And he's looking forward to our next episodes, and he's been a long-time listener and all of that. But most importantly, he sent me a link of a song where he actually used your riser, Malcolm, your mouth riser. And I can't wait to listen to it and see how he used it, but it's in an actual song.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I hope it goes to the top of the charts, Thomas.
Yep. So I have to talk to Thomas. If we can, like, whenever it's released, if we can share it, because then you'll find the song in the show notes, of course. I have to talk to him, but thank you for making that, and I can't wait to listen to it and then to give you my thoughts.
That's so great. Can you please send that to me as well, so I can check it out?
Of course, I'll do that. All right, yeah. So let's get to our community, which is the most important thing today, I think. And you are the most important part of the show, because without an audience, the show wouldn't make much sense. I think Richie says he's got to go in a few. Thanks so much for all you do, and congrats on your 100th episode. Thank you, Richie. You rock. If you want to come on the show real quick before you have to leave, this is your chance. Because if you have to leave in a few minutes, maybe you want to come on real quick and share what you did, or share some of your takeaways, or just do whatever you want to do. Oh yeah, he's calling in.
Fantastic.
Hello, Richie.
Hey, Richie.
Hey.
How are you?
I had to jump through a lot of hoops as you guys were chatting and playing Jeopardy theme music for me. So as I was going through, I'm just going, okay, that's why I put yeah. So I'm like, I'm gonna ask my question. I'm not gonna type it and then ask again. Anyway. So I don't know. I've kind of been here since the beginning. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how I found you, but everything that you mentioned as your favorite things in terms of Benny in particular, with your mindset shifts and all about drums, and also Malcolm, you in this podcast and also your other one, all of those things have really helped to shape and mold my brain as a musician, particularly giving me some confidence in order to actually take those steps and like get beyond that doubt and just get working. Like last night I spent a couple hours just in my living room, just demoing some things with just my Aston Stealth and a variety of instruments and my voice, and just doing it, so instead of just sitting around being like, oh, how do I do this? I've never done it, so I'm just not going to, which is literally the worst feeling. So,
right.
I really appreciate the time that you take to make these episodes, and there's so much value in them. So, and it's really good for me to, having listened to a lot of the things, when I run into those issues again, then I can say, oh yeah, so for acoustic treatment or for recording acoustic guitars in a certain way, I can go back and listen to this, or like you mentioned with the show notes and all that sort of stuff. And like all that is such invaluable information for somebody that could potentially, and not just me, but in general, just somebody that could potentially go down the rabbit hole of YouTube and just get 16,000 different opinions. And it's just nice to have that. Obviously yours are 2 of those 16,000 opinions, but it's nice to have something actionable that you can work with. Right. So I think that's been really helpful for me. I appreciate your insight when I've just asked questions out of the blue. I went on a call with Benedikt, so I don't know if he's still offering that, but I would highly recommend that, just to get an hour of time, just to kind of see where you are and how they can support that, whether or not you join his mentorship program or not. I think it's great just to chat and just to just to get that perspective of a recording engineer, and so so yeah. Anyway, like rambling here, but I just really appreciate the time and effort that you put into this, and yeah. So it's I'm looking forward to 100 more, and hopefully I'll get an opportunity to work with you guys soon.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, Richie,
thank you so much.
I'm really stoked that you're on the video right now, because right now you're actually talking to me about, like, you're asking me questions about recording your own solo music, right?
Yeah.
You're embarking on this like path that, I mean, I don't know. Would you have done that if you hadn't been developing these skills for the past year?
It's definitely uncharted territory. And I think a lot of it was just recognizing that my music is good enough, and then just having the skills and knowledge to put it down and just kind of go from there. So, right. And for further context, Malcolm mastered my band Tanzabad's album. And that was nice to work with you in that, in that respect as well. And just, and yeah, so I don't know. I just think as an artist, I don't think I had something to say. And so now I finally do. So it's
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
Something I liked about that Tanzabad process was that you, while you were starting that project up, you were messaging me with questions about how to go about things. Like I remember getting texts about using a pick on a bass or and stuff like that. And you were practicing some crazy hard, fast riff and stuff. So you're a very actionable person, Richie, which is great.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Sometimes I feel like I'm not. So,
yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this, Richie. You've been in there from the beginning. I know we've had a couple of interactions also in the academy, the group coaching calls, the one-on-one calls. And it's just amazing to see your progress. I loved listening to your record, and I can't wait to see what you'll be doing in the future. And I just hope you stick around and keep listening to our episodes. And yeah, thank you for doing this. And thank you for being part of the community.
You're welcome, guys. Take care, and we'll chat again soon. Eh?
For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Wait, before you leave, there's one thing I have to ask you, because I'm on a personal quest that has nothing to do with audio, but I'm going to ask people that are to jump on these calls today, on this call today. So really quick, burger or pizza?
Okay.
I need to find out what's better.
Better. Oh,
I'm going to go with pizza.
Thank you so much. And the second question, there's 3 answers: beer, wine, or no alcohol at all.
Oh, that's got to be beer, man.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's all I need to know. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem. Chat with you soon.
Chat with you soon, Richie. Bye-bye.
You got a tally going for these, Benny, on your side, or should I make one?
I have a tally, actually. I have one
great.
here. And eventually I'm going to tell people why I'm doing this. I'm not starting today, but I haven't asked our audience, so I'm going to do it. All right. Awesome. So who is next? And we got some great people in there. I see that Wayne is in here, obviously. Wayne is amazing. We are working together in the coaching program, and he's making some really amazing progress. You've been great before you've even started the coaching. Like, you've already been a great engineer, but it's cool to see what you're doing now. And I can't wait to see what will come from that. And then we have, let's see. Oh, I didn't even see that. Thank you, Thomas Bommel. He's in there. He says, congrats, guys. 100 streams. I think you mean 100 episodes, right? 100 streams would be cool.
Extremely unsuccessful.
Yeah.
That would be 1 stream per episode.
Yeah. But thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Wayne is calling in.
Hey.
Hello, Wayne. How are you, dude?
Hey, Wayne.
Good, man. Hi, can you hear me okay?
We can hear and see you. Awesome.
Sweet. It's nice to meet you, Malcolm. It's the first time we've met.
Yeah, likewise, man. Great to meet you.
Congratulations on 100 episodes.
Thanks so much.
Amazing. I wanted to say I agree with everything that Richie said, like when he was talking about the mindset episodes that you do. And you've already mentioned one episode, which was episode 37, where you talk about don't mix your own stuff. Basically, it's better to send it to somebody else to mix it because of objectivity and things like that. And that, I don't know why. I don't know if it's the place that I was in at the time, but that episode completely changed like the way I approach mixing and writing, even, and like my whole work process. It was so helpful, like that episode. So I'd recommend number 37 to everybody who's listening if they haven't listened to it already.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's
Yeah,
interesting
thank you.
in your case because I remember you telling me that when we first talked about the coaching, and you said that this episode was really helpful for you, but it actually caused you to make the decision that you want to mix yourself, which is interesting because our initial intention was to, like, the majority of our audience, that's what I want to say, are bands who want to be bands more than anything and not engineers. And for those people, it's typically better to not mix themselves and focus on being musicians, focus on the production, on the writing, on all of that, and maybe not on the mixing. But then there are people like you who are like, but I really enjoy mixing. I really want to mix. And I maybe not only want to do it for myself. So I didn't think about it, but it actually helped you make that decision that you want to pursue mixing further, right?
Right.
Yeah, man, it kind of answered a question that I didn't know I had festering, because I love to write and love to play and have done for my whole life. But I also love to mix, and I didn't realize I actually love to mix more than I do the other stuff, you know? And it just helped me. I was just on the edge, and it just helped me teeter over. And now I know what it is that I'm doing and what I want to do.
Oh, very cool.
So,
yeah, it's funny because like the episode name is like why you shouldn't mix yourself, but that's not usually what, like, our episode names aren't actually what we're saying in the episode. Like the episode title should have been why you should consider not mixing yourself, and maybe mixing yourself isn't for you, and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you were able to kind of take out what we actually meant.
Absolutely. I mean, I still do mix myself, but I'm aware of things now, and I'm aware of how important keeping that objectivity is. And that episode was a huge part towards that.
Awesome.
So
cool.
Great job.
Thank you so much. Malcolm, by the way, the episode is called "If You're About to Mix Your Next Record Yourself, Listen to This. You Might Be Hurting Your Band." So I'm not saying
that's
you
actually pretty
mix.
good.
Yeah.
That's not so clickbaity.
Yeah. So Wayne, other than this, are there any maybe some technique or something you've learned on the podcast that was entirely new to you, or where you had like an aha moment, something that you might want to share with other listeners, some nugget that you remember?
I would say probably just my entire workflow has changed, like in the last 12 months. And from meeting you, Benny, and listening to the podcast, like I approach things in a much more efficient way now. And it is worth taking taking an hour at the start to make a template or whatever for whatever you're recording, rather than I used to just go into it and it'd just be a horrible mess trying to find things and whatnot, you know?
Yeah.
So just like it's things that take time but are actually huge time savers. I'm much better at that now. And I'm just getting much more confident with everything that I do now.
That's so cool to hear. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you.
I do have a question for you guys as well. And I don't know why, it's just I'm always wanting to know, how did you guys meet? And have you ever met in person?
No.
That's a good question. No, we haven't actually, which is kind of weird because it feels like we have, but like, yeah.
Honestly, I'm still not convinced that he's not some creepy guy in a basement that's trying to lure me to Germany. But
oh yeah. It's a long, it's a 10-year strategy sort of thing, like.
just imagine if you met Benny and he was like 8 foot tall and you just hadn't realized it.
Yeah. So how did we met? I think you actually approached me, Malcolm. If I remember correctly, this was 3 or 4 years ago, at least. I think, 2017, 18, something like this.
Would have been 2000. I'm almost positive it would have been 2016.
Or maybe even wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that would be like 5 years ago. Okay, wait, I remember you went on a trip to China, right, to record a rock band there, and and we were both in some sort of online community, I think, at the time. Or you've heard about me from somebody. I don't know how you.
Yeah, I posted in a community. I can't remember if that was the Six Figure Home Studio or what it was, but one that we were both in. It could have been URM, and you commented with some advice because you had done some working with bands in other countries, essentially. And then from there, I believe I just direct messaged you and chatted with you more. As to how that turned into us spending hours of time together, like this is going to be our 100th hour together, not counting the mastermind group we had before this. That's insane.
And not counting the hour we always spend before we actually record the episode.
Totally. So, we're probably approaching like 500 hours.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I think it was like you were asking for advice on working with bands in other countries before you went off to China. And I've never been to China, but the questions we were asking were specific, and I thought I could help you with that. And then we just kept in touch, and your trip went great, I think. And then we started a mastermind group together with some other engineers. That's not existing anymore, but actually, it was for a while.
Previous guest John McLucas was on there.
Yeah, was on there, exactly.
And has Stephen Ward been on the podcast?
No, but we should bring him on. Stephen Ward is the content creator for Neural DSP, the amazing company who makes the great amp sims that we all love, and he was in our mastermind as well. And we should bring him on at some point because he's an absolute expert when it comes to amp sims. Obviously, he knows the ins and outs of those better than anyone else we know. So yeah, and we hung out in this mastermind, and then I think Malcolm is actually the reason why this podcast exists. I think because I started another podcast before this show, one that I did on my own. It's an interview podcast. I still do it. And
you can say the name of it.
Yeah, it's called the Outback Recordings Podcast. Most episodes are in German, but I have some international guests on there as well. And it's more focused on the punk rock, hardcore, alternative music scene that I'm part of. And Malcolm, I think you, at some point after I started the self-recording band and built the website and did the first blog posts and downloads and stuff like that, I think you said you should do another podcast. And I initially didn't want to do it because a podcast is so much work. And then you offered to do it with me. And I thought, okay, if we do it together and I have the accountability and like maybe we can make it work. And then early 2020, I think we just started.
Yeah. I see. I think I remember bringing up the idea because you were telling me the results of your other podcast were paying off. And it was growing really fast and stuff. So I was like, well, you should just redo that for your education platform. But then I remember you asking me if I wanted to do it with you. But I could be wrong on that.
Yeah,
I have a notoriously terrible memory.
Yeah. Could be true. The idea for the podcast came from you, and then I just asked you if you wanted to do it with me, I think. Yeah. Seems to have been a good idea.
Yeah. I'm glad it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, maybe we'll meet in person soon.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I'm saying that you're going to have to come to my wedding. So that June 26th, buddy. You got to come to Canada.
see how crazy that is? I mean, that's what I meant in the beginning, why this podcast and this whole community means so much to me, because we have never met before. We just do it because of this podcast. And now I'm invited to your wedding and I'm going to fly to Canada to actually join you there. Like, that's so amazing. That's one of the side effects of this podcast and all the other connections with people in our community. And like, this is the best thing about this, honestly. This is super cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
and now the annoying part is that I've been to Germany, I think, twice since we've started hanging out, and I've still never managed to meet up with you.
yeah, true. Yeah, we'll get it. At some point, we'll meet. Yeah. So, awesome. Thank you, Wayne, for that question.
Yeah, thank you.
Some good memories there.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to share before I ask you the same questions, because I need to know?
Well, one little thing, which I think me and you were going to talk about this anyway, Benny. But I'm recording a band next week, and I'm really struggling to get the guys in the band to change their guitar strings. They're just like, I keep trying to politely just be, oh, well, you should change your strings on the day, buy a few sets so we can, and they're just not interested.
Really?
Is it just a case that I'm just going to have to tell them, listen, man, it's what you put into it is what we're going to take out of it. So if you don't want to do that, then the results aren't going to be as good. Because I can't physically take the guitar from them and do that,
Yeah.
I have a solution for this.
Oh, go on.
What I did was, I don't know if you can see, but to my right, there's some guitars on the wall. I just keep those fresh stringed, and then instead of prying the guitar out of their hands to restring for them, I just do a quick shootout. I get them to play the part with a couple different guitars, and then I just say which one sounds the best. And obviously the ones that are set up and have good strings sound the best, and you don't tell them which one's which. You just do a blind shootout. They'll end up choosing the guitar you want.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking of taking my guitar with me, so I'll do that.
It's a bummer, because you're now spending money on strings for your guitar, but it's worth it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Don't explain it to them, just show it to them.
Yeah, I
And
mean, always try to get them to change their strings, but if they won't,
Yeah.
And if for some reason, and you can never entirely rule that out, if for some reason they really like the sound of, I don't know, dead, dull strings, or like it could be an artistic decision that I'm not aware of, or I don't know. But if for whatever reason they really prefer that, they're going to tell you that as well when you do the shootout, and then you can confidently choose the old strings, you know? But like chances
I think it's just laziness.
Yeah,
I
think so
don't
too.
think it's an artistic decision.
I think so too.
One more thing, I think you should offer to do it for them, because it could be. I've definitely. It's amazing how many guitarists don't know how to restring their guitar. They could be like a confidence thing where they just think that they have to spend money to go hand it into their music shop to change the strings for them or something. But if you're competent changing strings and intonating, just offer to set it up for recording. Be like, oh, we should do a full setup and get it all tip top for the recording.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea as well.
Thanks,
They're going to
man.
appreciate that. Maybe you can get the guitars a day before the session or so and do that for them. They're going to be stoked.
Yeah, good idea. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Then Wayne, burger or pizza?
Pizza.
Oh, that was a quick one. Awesome. You're counting this as well, Malcolm?
I am, yeah.
Okay, cool. What did Richie say?
He said pizza and beer.
Pizza. Yeah, pizza. Yeah. So we had 2 for pizza, but I have my overall chart here. Okay, cool. Then beer, wine, or no alcohol at all?
No alcohol at all.
Good answer. Cool. Interesting. Let's see.
These days.
These days. Okay.
These days.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right. Thank you for joining the conversation, and keep doing what you do. You are amazing, and we'll see you. I'll see you next week for sure. And
sweet.
We'll see you in the community as well. Bye,
okay,
Wayne.
man. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
So this was Wayne Coulson, by the way. So just remember his name. You might hear of him again in the future because he's really, really good at what he does, and he's
awesome.
He has a little niche for himself, like a creative niche that he's going to be very good at. So.
Very cool.
Remember that name. So, Bommel says, by the way, oopsie, I meant episodes, of course. Yeah, I thought you would. It's interesting. Richie also said Jacob Hansen's episode was dope. I agree. For some reason, this episode wasn't as popular as the other guest episodes we had. But if you've missed that one, go back to Jacob Hansen's episode interview, because we really think it's amazing, and Jacob is such an amazing engineer and producer, and also such a cool person to talk to.
Totally, such a rad guy. He's been like a hero of mine for years, so that was incredible getting to chat with him. I got to have him on my other podcast as well, and it was just like more time I get to spend with that guy. I feel like he makes me a better person.
Yeah,
he's just a good dude.
Totally,
good, really solid, positive perspective on everything.
Totally, and by the way, shout out to Your Band Sucks at Business, which is Malcolm's other podcast. If you haven't checked out that show, please do that, because it's really amazing. It goes well together with this show. I think there's some things that every self-recording band needs to know, I think, or should know at least. And we might share some of their content on this platform in the future. Who knows? But if not, like, go through this. I think it's yourbandsucksatbusiness.com, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And check out the show there. Super amazing. I always send people there, like bands that I work with, when they have legal questions or marketing questions or whatever. I just send them there because it's great. It's the resource for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like a logical next step. You record the music with this podcast, and then you have to release it and market it, so the other podcast comes in.
Yeah. So I actually, even in my artist portal that I use for the studio, it's like a piece of software that I use to manage projects, and I invite my the artists that I'm working with. I invite them to this portal so they can see the next steps and everything in our mixing projects. And I have a little wiki there, a little wiki, like knowledge base sort of thing. And I have Your Band Sucks at Business in there because I think I just think people should know about it. And
that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm just gonna go through the chat here real quick in case I missed something. Mouth Riders for the win. Yeah, I agree. So people really seem to enjoy the mindset episodes. That's interesting because they are also not as popular. But I mean, I think the people showing up today are the ones who implement the most and are our longtime listeners. So I'm actually not surprised that you like the mindset episodes and you listen to those, because you are action takers and you actually implement stuff. I think we need to do a better job of making those episodes more appealing to our new listeners, or like the general podcast listener, musician. You guys are sort of our superstars here. So glad to hear that you like those episodes. Malcolm, do you think there's one category or one like
Pizza
topic? No, there's one? Yeah, what's your answer to this, by the way?
It is pizza beer, I think.
It's pizza
I like
beer,
burgers a lot, though, so it's hard.
Yeah, same here. Okay, but pizza beer. Okay, cool. Now, is there one topic, one category of things like that that in your opinion is like underrepresented, like not talked about enough on our show, something that we somehow maybe touched on but should do more of, like just a general broad thing?
You know what we really don't talk about enough is changing your guitar strings.
Obviously. Yes, for sure.
No, I think we do a good job of talking about guitar strings, especially. It would be, I think we should do more of the frequently asked questions stuff. I think that gets us inside the head of the listeners a little bit. And myself, like my band's defunct, we're not doing anything right now. So I don't really have that like inside look into the dynamics of a band, especially a band trying to record themselves and like the egos involved in all that. So getting that insight from our listeners is totally helpful for us in knowing what we should be talking about and making more episodes about.
Agreed.
We got Torsten.
We got Torsten in here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you.
Yes.
I can only speak for myself, but I'm doing great.
All right, I'm doing great as well.
Cool. So, not Malcolm, Torsten, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know who you are, but tell us.
Who am I? I'm one of the longtime listeners of the podcast, I think, and I'm also in the Facebook community and in the academy.
Yeah,
we did a record together last year, and we will do more songs next year.
Yes, this year actually.
Yeah. This year. Yeah. Yes, of course, this year. And I tried to organize a happy birthday choir for you, but it wasn't possible. I was texting with Malcolm yesterday.
Really? Oh,
the only thing I prepared is this
oh shit,
a little birthday cake.
Thank you so much, dude. Like that's so amazing. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Wow, I didn't expect that one. That's crazy. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I hoped it would be possible to more people come into the chat and maybe sing something for you, but that's not possible. Okay. Anyways, that's why I draw a cake.
Oh wow,
I'm better in engineering music than drawing.
I have to agree, but like I still love the cake though. But if I disagreed, that would do your music justice because you are really good at engineering. So Torsten, by the way, his band is called Love 40 Down. So if you want to search for them, I think it's best to wait for you can search for them right now, but I think we have to tell people that a new record is coming out, and I think that will be the thing you should listen to when you discover Torsten's band. It will be out. When will it be out? Is there a date already? I'm not even sure.
The EP will be out in March, and the first single will be out 2 weeks from now.
Oh, that's awesome. Coming up. Love 40 Down is the name of the band. They got signed to Spam Records, which is a really, really cool punk rock label in Europe. They've kind of blown up the last couple of years. Stefan, the guy who runs the label, is a well-known artist. He designs cover art and merch and stuff like that for very well-known punk bands. Like the biggest ones that are out there, like NoFX and bands like that. And he started a punk rock label, and he has got a pretty cool roster of bands already and kind of blown up in Germany or like in Europe. And he hosts this like huge and organizes this huge festival as well every year. And Love 40 Down has signed to Spam Records, and they're going to release their record soon. And I'm so stoked because Torsten did all of it himself. I mean, I mixed it, but Torsten did a really great job producing, tracking, engineering. And he did everything. He went through the academy, our course that we offer. He really he made good use of all of that. Like he booked calls with me. He asked the right questions. He took the whole preparation, foundation, mindset part seriously. They took a lot of time to record that EP. And they really didn't cut corners. And I'm so glad to see that it worked out. And I can't wait to work with them again on the next record. And so that is just such a cool example of a self-recording band that actually makes this work. So I'm very glad you joined us, Torsten. I think you lost.
I think we lost his feed.
Yeah.
So if you're still there,
problem.
Torsten, try and call in again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is so like that success story is just insanely awesome. It's like it's so great to get like somebody that literally went through the roadmap that we've laid out here, and
Yes.
worked with you in the end, and like the whole self-recording band funnel was complete and came out with an incredible result of them getting signed to this amazing label.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't be more cool.
Oh yeah, totally. So again, Love 40 Down is the name of the band. And I can't wait to share the record once it's out. All right, so maybe Torsten will be able to call in again. And yeah, other than that, I think I wanted to add to what you said before, Malcolm. You answered my question, and I wanted to add my thoughts as well. I think I agree that we should do more like of the FAQ or Q&A sessions and episodes like that. But I also think we should do more, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, people. I think we should do more actionable, detailed, focused on one thing episodes, because we have a lot of these broad, big picture episodes that are helpful and valuable, as we said. But I think we should do more like one tool, one technique, really laser focused episodes where we go deeper into one topic. And that will go well together with what we plan to do on YouTube. And I can already talk about this because I've mapped out the process for this, and I'm going to start very soon. So this year, I'm going to, in addition to the podcast, I'm going to publish regular YouTube videos, short ones, where I take what we talk about on the podcast and go more in depth and more in detail on like certain things that are hard to explain on a podcast format. So if we talk about compression or hearing compression or stuff like that we can only talk about but not really show you, I will take these things and actually show them on YouTube in like small, short videos. And I think more actionable podcast episodes where we talk about one specific thing and go a little more in depth and more in detail are going to go well together with the YouTube videos where I can then show what it sounds like. So that's just my opinion. I really like the big picture, broad episodes, but I think we should do a couple more of like laser focused, detailed episodes. I think.
Yeah, maybe. No, I agree. Yeah. I think that's a great idea, just to get like really honed in on specific processes and specific tools.
Yeah. And just tell us if you like that idea or not, or if you think that that we just should do something entirely different. But I think that's the way to go, mixed up with what we already did, of course. All right. So, Torsten, you're back. I just told people about your band and about the label that you signed to and the upcoming record. I didn't say anything about the record, obviously, because I don't know what I'm allowed to say. Not much at this point, I think. So we're just gonna be patient and wait for the record, and then I don't know what you heard. I just told them that you basically did all the things right. You went through the whole thing, implemented everything. And I'm so glad to see that it actually worked out in the end. And I'm sure that the next record we're going to do this year is going to turn out even better because you've made a lot of progress since then. Again, right?
I hope so. Yes.
Yeah. So what are you?
Go ahead. The most important thing, the most important thing that I learned, that's also I prepared on a little slide, is this one.
You're the best, dude. Yep.
That's funny.
It was so cool to hear what Wayne was telling before.
Yeah. Yep.
Because of the other band that doesn't want to change strings.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, to be honest, like we gotta be fair. I think most of us have been this band in our past. Like I remember that I didn't really realize how important it actually is, and I wanted to save money and be lazy, so I can I can relate to that.
Yeah, we're musicians. We're naturally poor.
That's what I did also.
Poor and cheap.
I changed strings that were broken, only the ones that were broken.
If you're listening to this episode and not watching it, you should know that it was a slide that said fresh strings.
We should mention that in case you're just listening to the podcast. Yeah, Torsten just held up a slide, a sign that said fresh strings. That's so cool, Torsten. You're the best. Like, none of our guests have been as prepared as you are, I think.
Very prepared.
That's amazing.
You're more prepared than we are.
Yeah. Is there any other like nugget or key takeaway or anything that you remember from the podcast? Something that you haven't heard before, or like some small thing?
nothing specific, but I learned so many small details that closed gaps in my knowledge. I do recordings for 20 years plus now, but I still have lots of gaps.
We all have.
But they get closer with your podcast.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. And to be honest, like that's the same for both of us, I think, Malcolm, because we've been doing it professionally for a while, but I think we both learned so much by talking to each other, closing each other's knowledge gaps, doing the research necessary for this podcast. So I think that it's the same for everybody, and it's a constant. We should be lifelong learners, I think. And even if you do it if you've been doing it for decades, you're always going to learn something new, I think. And it's good that you still have that mindset, Torsten, because I know a lot of people who think that after a couple of years, they know it all, and then they stop progressing. So it's good to hear that it's not the case in your case. So
yeah, teaching is just another form of learning. I find that by teaching through this podcast, I think about things a lot more. I start to understand things more than I did before we did the episode. And then from hearing different ideas or opinions or methods from you, Benny, I get to experiment even more. So in a way, we're using this podcast to learn as well.
Absolutely. So, all right. Then anything else you want to share, Torsten?
No.
Cool. Now, your answers to my questions. Beer or pizza? No, not beer or pizza. Burger or pizza?
Beer and pizza.
Okay, burger or pizza?
It's also pizza.
Also pizza. Oh, that's really interesting.
The landslide.
Yes. Okay. And then beer, wine, or no alcohol at all?
2 beers and then no alcohol after that.
Also a good answer. Cool. Great. Yeah. Pizza, beer seems to be a winning combination here.
It is a good combo.
For sure.
Of course.
I know what I'm having tonight.
So who is this? Somebody,
do you ask?
Somebody put in the chat, beer and pizza both. I don't know who you are because your name also says beer and pizza both. We can only hope that is really your name. That would be cool. Tell us your name. Who are you? Let's see.
They're mysterious. They're laughing, but not telling.
Oh, Ryan.
Oh, it's Ryan.
Hello. We know
beer,
you both.
pizza, and hair then.
Yeah. Wayne says, don't get me wrong, I love a burger, but pizza is just so versatile. Oh, yeah. I haven't thought about that. Okay, maybe that's the reason.
Awesome.
Interesting. But that's also interesting because we need to do another poll because then that brings up the question, do you actually vary do you actually change what's on your pizza? Because most people I know kind of always eat the same pizza.
Oh, really?
So it's interesting that you point out it's so versatile.
Oh, yeah. I mix up my pizza all the time.
Okay, cool.
And then there's delivery pizza, or there's fire oven pizza, stone oven pizza and stuff. And then, barbecue pizza.
Yeah.
Anybody that's made barbecue pizza, that stuff's good.
Oh yeah. Wayne says you can put anything on a pizza and I'll eat it. That's cool. All right. So thank you, Torsten. Thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us. We're gonna put the name of your band in the show notes as well, and the name of the label. So again, Love 40 Down and Spam Records, and we're gonna share the record, of course, once it's out.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, congrats on that one. For sure.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, guys, for the next 100.
Yeah, well, looking forward to that. Hope you stick around, and have a great evening. And thank you for coming on today's show. Bye, Torsten.
Definitely.
Bye.
Ryan, you should call in, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, there we are. Hello, Ryan. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm actually at work. So I was like, I probably can't chat that long, but I thought, hey, you know what? This is a fun thing. These guys don't do it all the time. So might as well call in a little bit, right? Chat with Malcolm and Benny. I know Malcolm is the busiest person on the planet. So probably this is the only availability he has for the next 6 months to chat with me.
Could be true. Yeah. I'm one of the few lucky ones who get his time regularly.
I know, you guys are talking about everything. I mean, I was listening to, I forgot what episode it was. Maybe it was the guitar the guitar setup episode, and Benny's like, okay, slugs, cats, rain. Okay, what are we talking about?
Running.
He's like, all right,
Yes.
what else?
Frisbee golf.
Oh, no, I think it was ducks too. You're like slugs, ducks. What are we talking about next? And it was I don't know. This podcast is just so funny. Like, it's like you guys have a lot of like technical information, of course, but also just like funny, like funny things just all the time. So it's like little quips are really cool.
Right
Man,
on.
I appreciate it so much. That's actually pretty cool to hear. Not only the actual facts, but that's so cool to hear.
Yeah,
I definitely sometimes worry that we're just boring our audience with useless facts about trail running and slug eating ducks.
Yeah,
not
slug
eating
eating
slugs.
ducks. Or whenever you talk about the shoots that you went on and you say, "Oh, I got soaked and I got the hat," or "I was looking for a hat," But or talking about your new gear purchases, which I know, Malcolm, you got that M1 new MacBook, so
I'm using it right now.
Oh, right on.
Right now.
Right
so
on.
it's working like a charm.
What's the initial review on that one?
I'm thrilled. I'm totally thrilled. I finally, just yesterday, I put it through its first real intensive mix. And I went just to town on it, just leaving every plugin running full blast and not freezing or committing anything. And it did awesome. It did really good. So that's working like a charm. The workflow is uninterrupted now, which is the entire goal.
Nice. So now you can run those 600 track sessions that you're working for the big labels, right?
I have so many redundant buses that my sessions are always pushing close to 200. Even small, like the band sends me 16 tracks and somehow I end up over 100. It's like,
All right, we're
I don't know why.
the way there.
That's just the way I do it.
Yeah, same here. Awesome, interesting. Yeah, I mean, the banter we do, the stuff we talk to that is non-audio related, that's just because of the thing that we talked about with Wayne before, the fact that we never meet in person and our only meetings are the podcast recordings, basically. So we have to catch up and update each other about our lives and stuff. And we just do that on the podcast sometimes. Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is we always talk a little bit about that before the episode, but Malcolm is really good at like saving some of it for the episodes. I always think I heard everything when we start the episode, and then he always has something left that he didn't tell me about that he can then put in the actual episode. So I really enjoy that.
I mean, what else would you expect from this intelligent, handsome devil here, right? I mean, he knows how to save the goods, right? What goes on air, what goes off air. I mean, he's a dang expert at this point. 2 podcasts a week, Actually, Ben, you have 2 podcasts a week too.
Yes, not a week. Wow. I did 2 podcasts a week. Now the other one is slower, like it's once a month now. But
that's what I'm doing now as well.
Yeah, but I did 70 episodes or so on the other podcast as well. So yeah.
Yeah, we both dropped our other podcast down to monthly, which
that's
funny.
True.
We didn't. That's not something we coordinated. It's just something that naturally happened.
It's just happened.
Ryan, I think you're a great person to talk to on this episode. Number one, you've got the best hair of anybody in this Facebook group. I'm positive you are a fine feathered man. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
But second, we're in a Facebook chat together, and you've been looking to do something that I think is a really smart move for self-recording musicians and bands, and that is to try out doing a session with somebody. And you're specifically looking to do a guitar tracking session with an expert. So you're trying to find an amazing engineer that's done your genre, and you want to spend a day with them in the studio. And you're going to come out of it with an amazing product, of course, but you're also going to learn so much about the process by doing that. Is that your intention, to learn? As much as to get the results?
Basically that's my intention, to learn. And it's actually kind of good that we're talking about it on this platform, because I actually got that idea after having a call with Benny.
Awesome.
We didn't exactly talk about that, but kind of from that discussion, it's kind of for me to just try to get a little bit of a perspective of, what is good enough, on a, like, I basically have been doing like at home recordings, and I think what I've been doing is, good quality, because I haven't had my mixer come back to me and say, hey, these tracks are trash, like redo them, There was one that I did redo for him because he couldn't edit with the right, like he was trying to edit it and phrase it right, and it wasn't ever right, so I re-recorded it so that it was just right, and he didn't have to try to edit the phrasing. But other than that, never said like, oh, these are really bad clipped DIs that sound like they have dead strings on them or whatever, let's go back to that. So this time, so I want to get that perspective from someone who's kind of, experienced and, knowledgeable enough that I'll just say, okay, I'll let you make all the decisions on what's good enough and what's not. And, just try to go with that as much as possible. And the idea is like to get with someone who's good enough and, has enough experience that I won't question, their level, right? I mean, if, it's so, because if I go with someone that maybe is not as good, I might be like, well, I don't know if that's good enough, but if it's someone that's good, they're not going to let me get away with, with BS. And so, it's an interesting prospect. It could be a little bit, it's still, I'm somewhat anxious about it because it's kind of like, oh, okay, here we go. Am I actually good enough? Or, or maybe they're going to like push me to be a little bit uncomfortable and stuff. But, someone told me yesterday, it's like, you never improve by just staying comfortable. So I'm going to kind of use that. And I'm still in the process of it, but hopefully, either this month or February, I'll be with somebody and then, we'll actually do it. And then hopefully just knock out guitars and bass in like 2 days.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, I
cool.
think it's just such a good move. It's treated as like an investment into learning as much as getting the actual result from the session. And
I mean, I could it's really, I would say 95% of it is learning because I could get the end result on my own, but it might take longer, so
totally.
But yeah, so, and, it's stuff like that, you kind of get from the podcast. There's or just, like I said, in this case, it was just talking to Benny. So, so that's, that's like another benefit of like being a part of the community and stuff. So
Totally.
Yeah. And I want to really point out one thing here, and that is so cool to see this also play out today. You and all the other people who called in today, you are all action takers, and I know that because all of you are either in the academy or in my coaching program, or in your case, you are in a mentorship program of somebody else, like John McLucas, who we had on the show, who offers a great program like that as well. So every single one of you is in something like that and is a constant like learner, action taker, actually implements things. You showed up today, you called in today, and the records that you guys make and the progress that you guys make is showing that. It's like those people who really make something cool happen and who really put out amazing music or who really make progress in their careers are always the ones who are like that. And it's so cool to see that this is the same today as well. Like, I mean, and we had a call, and you, despite the fact that you are already in a mentorship program, you still took the time and jumped on a call with me to learn about what I had to offer and to get my perspective, which I totally appreciate. And it's not a problem at all that you didn't sign up for my program, because I know you're already in good hands and I could offer you some of the perspective. And I just love to see you make progress. And it just goes to show that the mindset and the attitude towards learning and all of that is the most important thing. And if you keep doing that consistently, then you're gonna make something great happen no matter what.
Yeah, I think it's also like just the passion or kind of like the drive and all of that, right? I mean, if I'm sure you guys are the same, that, I'm sure you two know enough that you could just, stick with the knowledge that you have already and just, continue making money and, live off of what you do. But because we all have an interest in this, then, it just motivates us to like learn more and, put in the hours and, like sit there at like, I don't know, midnight or something and think like, oh, I wonder about this thing. And then you go and, research it. And, it can be a good or bad thing. I mean, because then you verge on you're on the verge of becoming a workaholic, or you're already a workaholic. And, I don't know
might not even notice because the lines are blurred.
I don't know what the AA program would be for an alcohol or for workaholics, like WW. I don't know, but
hey, that's a real thing.
is there actually a WW organization that is like? For
I don't know what the name of it is, but I am aware that there are people that do have to go to meetings because they just can't freaking stop working.
Yeah, I mean the lines are all blurred, right? Like it's if you really enjoy it, if the passion is, if you're that passionate about it, and it's all you can think about night and day, you might not even be aware that you're overworked and tired and exhausted.
Yeah.
So that's a real thing for sure.
I'll post in the group if I find a worried workaholics, support group or something.
Worried workaholics. That's awesome. Yeah, totally.
Now,
98% audio engineers.
Yeah.
And musicians.
Is there anything you want to, like any sort of nugget, any small thing of the podcast that you remember specifically that you want to share that helped you?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, definitely that guitar setup episode. I think that's the one that I've listened to the most, just because there's so many good pieces of information there. But I think one of the recent episodes that you guys did, I don't remember the number, but it was the one about, like buying gear or the, not to buy gear or, kind of the concept of that. And then also this idea of like figuring out if you're doing things efficiently and spending your, time efficiently. Mm-hmm. Ever since I've listened to those two episodes, I'm constantly kind of like questioning, what, if I need to make this particular purchase or, am I spending my time wisely? So I think those are like really good like nuggets of information. And the interesting thing about it, I just realized, is that those episodes are those two, like you can't really apply, you guys were talking about snare drums. Like if you're a non-audio person, you're not going to care about snare drums, right? But like you could be anybody listen to those episodes because it's, you could apply it to anything, right? I'm sure there are like, I don't know, sports people who buy too much, I don't know, sweatbands or something. I don't know, like, I mean, so
sure.
Yeah, so you could, apply it to that. Or maybe it's like, basketball, players, they'll buy too many shoes or something. It's like, is that shoe going to really make a difference? Especially if you can't afford to buy a new shoe every day, like it's, stuff like that.
That's definitely true for us runners. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was going to say that running, one of my favorite things about being into running is that it's hard to obsess over gear because there's just like, I found the shoe I like and it's kind of, so like I can't really find anything else. I bought a nice hat. I've got nice running pants.
Dude,
I can't find anything else to spend my money on.
Dude, I know people who like buy a pair of running shoes every single week or so, and they own, 30 pairs of shoes that they never wear. So I definitely know these types of runners. So it's a thing.
I hate changing shoes.
Yeah.
Cool.
But,
that's cool to hear, though, that it's relatable. Sorry, I just want to say it's cool that it's relatable, and you can take this and apply it to other areas of life as well, which is that's pretty cool to hear. Yeah, some of these things are just universal truths, right? So
that is something that I hope is like a universal skill among our listeners of being able to kind of read between the lines and apply information to other situations. That is super. Like, I almost think that's a required skill if you want to be learning from podcasts.
Yeah.
I think half the time we're not talking about what applies to you, but we're talking about an idea or a concept that could apply to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Ryan, do you want to share the name of your music project or the music you make, you put out, so that people can find you?
Sure, yeah. So the name of that project is Venom and Spirit. You can find the music on Spotify. I've got one song working, to get other songs out. I kind of want to, finish 3 songs before I start kind of marketing or promoting and releasing music again, just so I can try to like build some momentum. And I have some ideas for marketing that I need to, map out. But there's one song on there. And I'm also on social media, Venom and Spirit. There's a Facebook and Instagram page. And then, so those are the links.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well.
Great.
So all of this will be there. Cool. Thank you so much, man. Anything else you want to share?
No, that's basically it. When you asked about the nugget question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only other thing that I thought of, again, maybe these are episodes top of mind, recently, Malcolm said, I talked about the bystander, or what was that witness bystander effect.
Oh, God, the horrible comparison. Yeah.
And no, but the funny thing was that he said, okay, remember last time we talked about reviews and I said about the bystander effect? Well, it happened. And I was like, oh my God. So, and sure enough, it was like when I went to the page, it were like no reviews. I was like, wow, that was right, you know? Malcolm was 100%
human nature.
right.
Yeah, it's really like that. Totally.
Oh,
So remember, if you see somebody getting stabbed, call the police.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. The one more nugget that Malcolm, he says that Floyd Rose guitars belong in the trash.
Yep.
And then and then it posted in the community. I'm like, Malcolm, I'm actually thinking maybe I want a Floyd Rose guitar.
I mean, you've got an Evertune, so you're set.
Huh?
Yeah.
You've got an Evertune, right?
Yeah, that's true. Although yesterday I made a little boo-boo on the Evertune, so now I got to go get that fixed up again. Oh, hey, maybe I'll drop this nugget for everybody. Don't take the foot plate off of your Evertune guitar. Don't take it completely off. You're going to throw off all the action and intonation and everything.
Oh, so you got to reset all the saddles and
Yep.
Yeah, everything.
Okay. Oh, crap. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
You know what? Because what I noticed was the first string was super in tune, right? It was dead on. But then as you went lower, the strings got less and less in tune. It was like less accurate. And I was like, what's going on? And then I looked and I saw the foot plate on the back was like crooked. It wasn't like sitting completely flush. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that the holes for the foot plate are actually not aligned with each other. That's the reason the plate was crooked. But I didn't know that until I took the plate completely off. And then I tried putting it back on. I made it a little bit straighter, but then, I threw off the action and the intonation. And two of the strings are kind of not really like even playable now. So,
dang.
So I got to go
Sorry to
get
hear
that set up. So, just for those Evertune players out there, don't take off that foot plate. Unless you can just set it up again, unless you're a whiz or whatever. But but
awesome.
Hopefully it'll come back. It'll be back. I'll bring it back to life soon enough. So
right, yeah. Make that a priority because that those are a workhorse.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll want it by the time you book that session with whoever you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna book that until that gets resolved. Hopefully, I can take it to a shop today. So yeah,
awesome. By the way, Floyd Roses. I think if you want to do dive bombs or like stuff like that, you should totally have a Floyd Rose. But other than that, like no.
Yeah.
Even then, I mean, like whammy pedals will get you pretty far.
Let's not.
Are those
keep
pretty
like that.
accurate? Like, do those do they replicate it pretty good? I don't.
No, they sound different.
Yeah,
they sound like more like a synth to me.
Yeah.
They're cool sounding, but the dive bombs are cool because like the other strings sound wild. It's almost like the strings that aren't meant to be in the dive bomb on a Floyd Rose sound the coolest to me. It's like something broken and odd about it.
I will say this, that I saw a video recently on YouTube. It was Pliny, if some of the audience members might know. Yeah. So Pliny, he did a video for Guitar World where he talked about like using a Floyd Rose like tastefully. It was pretty insightful. I was like, damn, he's kind of selling me on Floyd Rose now. So if you guys if anybody's curious about how to do something else with Floyd's other than, dive bombs, check out that video. Pliny Guitar
I'm going to go
World.
find this video and report it as spam to get it taken down. It's spreading the sickness.
Malcolm has this mission.
And I think you know that by now, but like take everything we say with a grain of salt. Like everything, of course, there are great people using Floyd Roses. You still shouldn't, but like there are. Not saying it's not possible. So anyway, Ryan. Malcolm, go ahead. What do you want to say?
I was wondering, are you aware of the story of how Ryan and I know each other?
No, I'm not.
I don't think we ever told that on this episode or on this podcast, but Ryan and I actually met at the URM Summit in Vegas, having many beers together in like 3 a.m. or something. So we hung out a little bit there. I went up to Ryan thinking he was a guitarist in the band that performed there, Archspire. And he was like, I am not who you think I am. I was like, oh, well, you seem cool. Let's keep chatting.
Awesome.
And anyways, like, well, when I was leaving the summit, it was like 4 a.m. after like the last day of events and stuff. And like Ryan was still up at the hotel bar with some people, and I was leaving to get a plane. But anyways, fast forward months and months later, I start Your Band Sucks at Business, the other podcast. And Ryan ends up becoming a listener and messaged me some questions, I think. And it, like we messaged for a while before we figured out that we already knew each other. So he just happened to find my podcast one day and start messaging me. And then we're like, wait, Ryan, I know who you are. We've met in Vegas one time.
That's crazy. That's amazing. Awesome. Man, I wish I would have been there. I was there the year before in Orlando at the URM Summit, and I didn't make it to Vegas. Yeah, I have heard
definitely
great stories
wish I was at the first 2 of them after that one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it
awesome.
it was great. Yeah, Malcolm was leaving, and I was like, Malcolm, what are you doing, man? We're still partying here. Like,
yeah, I have another a very quick fun story about Ryan, and then
Wow.
but I just have to tell that because I might be completely wrong, but I think you have an almost identical twin brother, right? Is that right?
I have
because
an
I saw
identical twin. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw on your, I think it was in your Instagram where you pranked your family and friends and like your followers, telling them you cut your hair, and like they all believed it and were shocked, and then it turned out it was your brother who basically like it's an identical twin, like it's just you with less hair or shorter hair. So I think that was really, really funny because I was convinced as well. So that really worked.
It was funny because I had some people who were like not convinced. I had a friend, he was like hell bent on figuring it out, and he was like, there's no way you did it and this and that. He was like, send me a picture. I would just send him pictures of my twin brother. And he was like, dude, I know that's not you, man. Like, you can't fool me like that. You know, he was so invested in this thing. It was crazy. But
awesome.
Yeah, it was a little fun thing. So
cool.
You know,
amazing.
For it. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. So the question, pizza or burger? What do you prefer?
Man, that's a tough one. My gut wants to say pizza, but you know, I don't know. Not having a burger ever again, you know, like is that what we're talking about? Or are we just talking about like a preference?
What is
like
you're way overcomplicating this. Just give me an answer.
Whichever you prefer to have right now.
Okay, pizza. Okay, that's 5 votes.
Pizza.
Like that's four votes for pizza, right?
4 votes for pizza.
Four.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and then beer or wine or no alcohol at all.
I'd probably take a beer. Yeah, I'll take a beer.
Like pizza and beer is winning today, Malcolm. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Oh yeah, see, that's like a freaking perfect combo right there. I mean,
pizza and beer. But so is a burger and a beer. A burger and a beer is incredible too.
That's true. That's true. Now, if somebody says burger and wine, they're psychos.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a thing.
I'm waiting for that person. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
pizza
totally.
and wine works, but not.
that works.
Burger and wine, they're a psycho. You know, kick them out of the community. No, just kidding.
See, that's the test. That's the whole reason why we do this test. We just want to make sure we like keep the community safe. Yeah, exactly.
We should change because when you join our Facebook community, you get asked some questions, and it should be we should rule out that they don't like burgers and wine, and if they have a Floyd Rose.
There we go.
Exactly.
All right, we're changing.
All right, thank you for coming on, Ryan.
Yeah, totally awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Great to see you, buddy.
All right, see you here, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. Great. Now I'm just going to read Pauli's message here. And Paul is, I think he's Paul from the band Revoluzzer from Österreich, from Austria. They are called Revoluzzer. It's a German word, like written a little differently. And they are a punk band. They are pretty amazing. And I had the pleasure of mixing the last album for them. And he says, I just want to say hi and congrats to your podcast. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to get into all the podcasts of you guys, but as long as Benny has got the time and motivation to do the mixing stuff for our band, we're pretty safe. Thanks for that and for your enthusiasm. Well, thank you, Paulie. Much appreciated.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, amazing band. Keep doing what you do. I can't wait to hear the next songs and keep working with you. Also glad to see that you showed up to this session today. Awesome. All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This was really cool. This was fun today. So cool to connect with you. Amazing. We're going to put all the bands in the show notes. So if I remember correctly from the top of my head, it's Tansibat from Richie.
Yep.
And Tansibat is the name of the band, right?
Yep.
And then we have Wayne Coulson, amazing engineer. We have, and he's got a solo project as well. I should mention that. It's all going to be in the show notes. Then we have Torsten from Love 40 Down, just recently signed to Spam Records, and with a record they did themselves. And then we have Ryan Flair, whose solo project is called, that's
Venom and Spirit.
Venom and Spirit, right. Thank you, Malcolm. So we're going to put all of those in the show notes. And again, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
Cool. Amazing. This was fun.
Very fun.
Let's do another 100 of these episodes.
Yes. Coming right up.
Yeah, exactly. Malcolm, thank you as well, of course. Wouldn't have been possible without you. And I'm so glad that you are joining me in all of this. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to do all the things we have planned for 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too, man. It's going to be an exciting year. I know we've got some big things planned, including you already dropped the bag of the YouTube content coming. So that's exciting, but we got more as well. So super pumped for all that. It is Friday night over there, correct?
It is Friday night over there. Yep.
All right. So what's it going to be? Pizza, beer, wine, burger?
Good question. Somebody just knocked on my door, so it's either one of my kids or my wife. So I assume that dinner is ready, but I have no idea what what I'm gonna have. But we're gonna do a little movie night tonight with the kids because they're still the school is starting on Monday again, and we said so we're gonna do one late movie night where they can stay up late. So I'm sure it's gonna be something in that direction. I'm just not sure what it will be exactly.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to make sure it's a beer and pizza night for me.
Yeah, I really hope at this point that it's going to be beer and pizza because I can't think of anything else. But yeah, we'll see. All right, cool. Awesome. Thank you all. You guys rock. I'm just looking forward for 2022.
Me too. All right.
Bring your friends to the
everyone.
community. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.